Y'all, if you're hosting a derby party this year, do I have the most perfect recipe for you? This Kentucky hot brown casserole is gonna wow your guests. Let's just jump right into it and let me show you how to make it. We're gonna start this recipe by prepping a lot of ingredients, getting all the chopping and prep work done ahead of time. First thing we're gonna do is bake up some turkey. Here I've taken 2 large turkey tenderloins, placed them on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. We're gonna drizzle with a bunch of olive oil, just simple seasonings, salt and pepper on both sides, and we're gonna stick this in the oven at 350 for about 25 minutes until baked all the way through. Let this cook while we're getting the rest of the recipe together. After this is cooked, remove it from the oven, dice it in bite-sized pieces, put it in a bowl and set it aside for the assembly here later on. The next step is to fry the bacon, so this can also be cooking while we get the rest of the recipe together. I like to go ahead and use some kitchen shears and just cut the bacon straight up into bits into the skillet. Fry this up until nice and crispy. While those 2 things are cooking, we're gonna dice the rest of the ingredients. So here I have a whole sourdough loaf. I'm gonna use about 6 to 8 cups, which is roughly this entire loaf, but it might depend on the size of your bread. I'm gonna cube this up into bite-sized pieces, relatively the same size as the turkey, so that everything is the same bite when we serve it. As you cube this, go ahead and place this on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper as well, and we're gonna toast these in the oven with the turkey for about 15 minutes just to get them slightly toasty and crunchy. Next, we're gonna quarter up 1 cup of cherry tomatoes. Next, we're gonna grate up 8 ounces of Parmesan cheese. You're gonna wanna make sure that you grate this yourself from a block so that it melts really well in the sauce that we're getting ready to make. Next, we're finally ready to make that classic Mornay sauce. To start, we're gonna add a large saucepan to medium heat on the stove, and you're gonna add in 8 tablespoons of butter and slowly let that melt. Then add in 1/3 of a cup of flour, and we're gonna use a whisk and whisk this really well together until the flour taste has cooked out and there are no clumps remaining. At this point, I'm gonna turn the heat down to medium-low for the rest of the cooking time, and we're gonna add in 1.5 cups of heavy cream, making sure to whisk really well as you add this in so that it incorporates really well to the butter and the flour and there are no clumps that form while cooking. After that, we're gonna add in 1.5 cups of whole milk. Do the same thing, whisk really well to make sure that it is smooth and creamy. Next, we'll add our spices, which is 1/2 teaspoon of freshly cracked black pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and 1/4 teaspoon of smoked paprika. And we're gonna let this gently cook for about 5 minutes. You're gonna wanna make sure to whisk and stir often so it doesn't scorch on the bottom. And as this cooks, it's gonna become nice and thick and creamy. You will know when this sauce is done and thick enough when you stir it with a wooden spoon and run your finger across and the sauce stays. At this point, we're gonna remove it completely from the heat and we're gonna add in 1/2 of the amount of Parmesan cheese that we grated from earlier. Stir it really gently in so that it creates this luscious, cheesy, creamy sauce. At this point, the prep work is all done and we're finally ready to assemble. We're gonna grease a 9x13 baking dish with some cooking spray. And the first layer of this casserole is going to be the sauce. So I'm gonna spoon a couple spoonfuls or about 1/3 of the amount of the sauce onto the bottom of the pan and evenly spread out. Next is adding 1/2 of the toasted sourdough bread. Spread that evenly into the bottom of the pan right on top of the sauce. Next is the turkey. We're gonna add 1/2 the amount of turkey, doing the same thing, spreading evenly across the top of the bread. Then we're gonna add 1/2 of the bacon right on top of that. And then we're just gonna repeat one more time. So we're gonna add a little bit more sauce on top of it, about 1/3 or so. Then the rest of the bread, the rest of the turkey, the rest of the bacon. And finally, to finish it off, we're gonna top it off with the rest of the sauce on top. Drizzle whatever you have left over all over the top of the casserole dish. And then we'll add the remaining 1/2 of the Parmesan cheese on top. And finally, the diced tomatoes are the very last thing that we're gonna add. At this point, you're gonna pop it into the oven that's already at 350 degrees, and we're gonna let this cook for about 25 to 30 minutes or just until hot and bubbly. Once it's done, remove it and let it cool for about 5 to 10 minutes before serving. We're gonna garnish with some fresh parsley and then it is ready to serve up. This casserole is everything you love about the traditional Kentucky hot brown, but in a casserole form, so it's perfect to feed a crowd. Got all of those delicious Southern flavors. I know it's gonna be a big hit for this day. For the full recipe, head on over to KentuckyLiving.com. Everything you need to know can be found there. Thanks so much for joining me in my kitchen this month, and until next time, I'll talk to y'all soon.